This episode is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial, head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker and get yourself a free audiobook on Magic Man while you're there.
Hello, Internet. Magic Man here from XIV Nation, bringing you a Final Fantasy Spotlight. Another one. I've been getting a lot of emails, especially since we did XIV Reborn Episode 2, where Gary, Mr. Happy, and I talked about the beginning stats for each race in Final Fantasy XIV. And I wanted to take just a few minutes. I know maybe there's other videos or text blogs and things like that out there for it, but in the interest of putting it all in one place here on XIV Nation, thought I'd make a quick video for you and kind of take you through it. If you watched yesterday's Final Fantasy Spotlight, you saw the character creation benchmark had stats for starting attributes for each race, and within the 5 races there were 2 clans to pick from. Each clan had different stat attributes as well. Different strength, different dexterity, intelligence, mind, all that fun stuff. So, what I want to do is take just a minute and go through the importance of these, because we kind of left it on if you're a min-maxer, it's important. If you're not a min-maxer, it's not important on XIV Reborn. So, I've made a nice little infographic for you, so let's pull that up. And I'll put this in the post below. It's a little homemade job here from Magic Man to you. We've got our 5 races across the top. So we have our Elizin, Rogadin, and Lalafell, and Makot, not necessarily in that order. And we also have below those the 2 clans for each race. So you will make that 50-50 decision. Underneath that, I've broken down, and this is according to the character creation benchmark. I don't think these numbers will change going into actual release, but just in case they do, I'm putting the disclaimer on that the numbers in this infographic are from the character creation benchmark tool. Now you'll notice the stats are different for each clan, and I've highlighted in red the different attributes that have the highest in their category. For instance, Elizin Duskwhite have the highest intelligence when compared to the intelligence of all other race-clan combinations. So, what does that mean for you when you're creating a character? Well, there's really one core stat that's important, the main stat for each class. So I've also included at the bottom here, to make it all easy for you, a breakdown on what each stat actually does for your character. You know, just in case you didn't know, it's right there. Just look down. So if I'm going for my Thaumaturge, my Black Mage advanced job, intelligence is super important to me. If I'm a min-maxer, this means that the best possible scenario for me to start is to roll an Elizin and select Duskwhite as my clan. I don't have a choice. If I want that top tier intelligence, it's better than everybody across the board. If I'm a min-maxer and I want those extra points, that's kind of important. But it locks me into that specific race and that specific clan. I don't have a choice. How much does it matter, though? If you're not a min-maxer, play whatever the hell you want. Take a look at the stats. They're important. It worked out for me because I wanted to be Elizin anyway, and I wanted to start with my main class as Thaumaturge, so it kind of worked out. I'll go Duskwhite. It was no big deal in my case. But Final Fantasy XIV is a game where you can end up playing every class if you want. And so making this decision based on the one class you think right now you're going to play the most of, legacy players might have a bit more insight into what they're going to play the most of at this point if they decide to recreate a character. So kudos to them, they have a little more information. But for newbies that weren't in version 1 and maybe played just the open beta coming up of version 2, it's kind of a rough decision for you to be saying that I'm just going to stick to this class, this is going to be my main class. You're going to get attribute points along the way that you can allocate into here anyway, and if you goof up, there is the ability to respec those. Now, there's 2 interesting points that we did find out in the most recent live letter 8, where Yoshi P has said, and this is kind of confirming what other people have said on the internet, that even at level 50, this stat difference between the starting clans and races is negligible. It's not much of a difference, because it's not a geometric progression from level 1 through 50, where one stat point difference becomes 15 at 50. It doesn't do that. If it's 1 point for an Elizin Duskwhite to be better than another race in intelligence at level 1, at level 50, it's still 1 point as well. So it is a minimal difference, and that's straight from the man's mouth on the live letter 8. The other point, though, to take into consideration is while you can respec, we're still waiting, or going to have to wait until launch to get some more details on this. But in the live letter, they did say that you wouldn't be able to respec like that. It's not something that you would go and run an instance as one thing and then respec real quick to go run it as another class. It's not going to work like that. They do want to put a time buffer in there on respec. So we'll have to wait and see. But just keep that in mind. You're going to get points, so you can distribute them any way you want. My suggestion for you is if you're total min-maxer and you know exactly what class you're going to play, by all means, let the numbers pick your race for you. Unless you fit that mold, pick something that's well-rounded and that you like. You're the one that's going to have to stare at it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours as you play, so you might as well enjoy the damn thing. Well, I'm Magic Man from XIV Nation. This has been a Final Fantasy Spotlight. We'll see you next time. And if you've got feedback, comments, put them below. Click like. Come on over to xivnation.com. And while you're there, if you notice that we're missing somebody that's maybe, not internet famous, they've got their own little corner of the internet and they're pumping out some nice XIV's Reborn stuff that we should feature, or for the actual Final Fantasy XIV game, if they've got some great content and we haven't spotlighted them or at least made it available, reach out. You can hit me up at mburn@gamebreaker.tv. Send me an email there. Give me a link to their stuff. I'll go and check it out. If it's somebody I'm familiar with, I'll kick myself for not having put it up there already for you. And if it's somebody I'm not familiar with, I'll check it out. And if I think it's worth bringing to you guys, we'll spotlight it. That's what XIV Nation's all about. Join the community, share it, tell your friends about it. And until next time, this is Magic Man saying stay safe, gang, and we'll see you out on the servers.